The San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion, are absolutely cooking. In case you missed it, after they drafted Stephon Castle, they went out and drafted Juan Nunez, who is more like a draft and stash guy. He's going to be playing overseas next year and filling out, I think, some type of contract for Real Madrid. That's what I was reading up on. And I just like the pick because, he's great in the pick and roll. It's going to benefit Wembanyama so he can get easier shots. And if he could just work on his jump shot and get better at that, maybe shoot from like 36, 37% range from the three and just have a good mid-range shot, more like, a Tony Parker type of player, Spurs are going to be rolling. And he's young, so there's not a lot of pressure right now, but to have that experience overseas, I think he's playing the Olympics as well. So this is just a great pickup. It's not a lot of risk. Again, this draft isn't that good, but I like what the Spurs are doing here. They have always developed international players like Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. So they know what they're doing here. Also, you look at what happened with the Pelicans and Hawks trade. Murray went to the Pelicans, and the Spurs own the Hawks' first-round draft pick. It's unprotected. But, man, the Hawks are probably heading towards a rebuild, so I think Trae Young is going to be on the move next. Now, all of a sudden, they're trying to rebuild, and Spurs are sitting like, thanks for that pick. And now they're going to get another draft pick next year, not to mention the Hornets pick, which could be a really good pick. The Bulls are probably going to be going to rebuild very soon because they just traded Caruso. So I could see Levine leaving. DeRozan is probably going to be gone. I think he's a free agent, by the way, to check into that. But anyways, so you have all this going on. And then yesterday, what happened? They go out and sign Chris Paul. Great pickup. Actually, I think it was today. Great pickup. I thought this move was perfect because I think, in my opinion, they need a vet with the Spurs. So you put him with Wembanyama. You put him with Stephon Castle. And I think that's big because it reminds me of SGA. He played with OKC, and it was a big part of SGA's development because he got to learn from Chris Paul. And then after he left, SGA just took off. So I think Stephon Castle coming in doesn't have to put this pressure on him where he has to be the main ball handler. He can learn from Chris Paul. He can be the secondary ball handler, and that's going to be a great experience for him. I think what the Spurs are doing is brilliant here. I don't think they need to rush the process. I saw trade rumors today about Lauri Markkanen possibly being linked to the Spurs. I don't know if you want to do that right now because I would wait to next year's draft and see also how Jeremy Sohan develops because, again, he's going to have, a lot on his plate and he'll probably, get a lot of experience again and learn a lot from Chris Paul. So I think right now, if I'm the Spurs, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait this process out. I'm going to see how Wemby develops, see if Zach Collins is a good fit next to Wemby because I like his game. I think he has the potential of being a double-double guy, so we'll see if that pans out. Obviously, I think right now it's important for the Spurs just to find important role players to surround them with Wemby. When you're going through a rebuild phase, there's going to be some trial or error, especially when they become, playoff contenders again. You're going to have to find role players. Think of it like the Celtics where they had Marcus Smart, they had Robert Williams III, and people are like, okay, this team is ready, and they moved on from those pieces. So there might be situations where you think you got the right piece, and it's not the right one, and you got to start all over. So I like what San Antonio is doing here. I think, as long as they continue to trust this process and just take their time. I think, Chris Paul coming in, let the young guys, feed off of him. He can mentor them. He can show them ropes. And especially as a new guy who's learned the NBA, that's also critical as well. So I think Stephon Castle is going to benefit. I think Jeremy Sohan is also going to benefit. However, I think there's some pressure too on Jeremy Sohan because, I don't think he's a bad player, but I think he's got to, continue to grow in his role. And I think, with him, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, Wembanyama, those are your cornerstone pieces. You want to build around those four guys. And if Sohan finds that role, you continue to build and eventually, which is the main goal, to start winning championships again. But obviously, the Spurs are in a good spot not to rush that process. I mean, Lauri Markkanen would be nice, but you would be speeding things up. And right now, you look at OKC, like, man, they got Hartenstein, they got Caruso, and they got all these draft picks. I think you just got to keep playing it out. Wemby's going to have his sophomore season. We expect nothing but great things from him. And, Chris Paul coming in will help them get better. Hopefully, defensively, they go to a new level. I know the rating with Wemby on and off the court is insane. So imagine you have a point of attack defender, Stephon Castle. Then you have Chris Paul. Devin Vassell is an excellent shooter. And then Zach Collins, who I think he is a good fit for them. We'll see how it plays out. But you've got some flexibility as well because let's say Sohan and Collins become expendable. Well, if marketing becomes available, and let's say the price isn't too high, I say go for it. Right now, I wouldn't, because the Jazz are going to want a lot of draft picks. You saw what happened with the Rudy Gobert trade. I mean, they got so many picks from that trade. I wouldn't rush anything from the Spurs. Take your time. Let's see how this roster pans out, especially this season, especially if Devin Vassell takes another step, Jeremy Sohan takes another step, Stephon Castle finds a role, and went beyond it. Now you're looking at this team like, oh my goodness, they got really good players here, especially the role guys, and Zach Collins is still playing well. It's a good team for me. And all you got to do is just fill out the bench, and that 2025 class is coming in. Yikes. That is a scary sight to see. And again, I'm wondering if Popovich is going to stick around. I'm very curious to see if he'll, make it to the next phase of when the Spurs start dominating again. I don't know yet, but I just like what the Spurs are doing here. I just think, again, it's another really good pickup where it's not a lot of risk here. He's on a 1-year deal, and he gets to come in and be a vet and mentor these guys. If he has the same impact as he had with the Oklahoma City Thunder, where you see Wemby take off, Devin Vassell becomes maybe a borderline all-star player. Obviously, a lot of competition with that, but again, you want your guys to get better in their roles around Wemby. Because we know Wemby is going to be, in my opinion, he's going to be a top 3 player. All these teams, trying to get a championship, get your titles right now. Because when Wemby takes over the league, it's over. It's done. It's finished. But again, Spurs just got to be patient. Take your time. Plan for next year's draft. If they end up getting Cooper Flag, oh my gosh, I'm scared. I'm terrified, because you put him next to Wemby, that is a scary sight to see. But again, we'll see what the Spurs have in play here. If they can get Lauri Markkanen at the right price, like if they don't give up much for him and not a lot of draft picks, it's just, again, the Spurs have a lot of flexibility and a lot of options. I don't know the rest of their cap space the rest of the summer. Maybe they pick up another vet. Maybe they just stand pat with what they got and just go into next season. Whatever they do, they're doing everything right. Spurs fans, you guys should be excited. They're doing things the right way. They're taking their time, and they're just trying to get back to the place where they were winning. Obviously, the Kawhi Leonard situation didn't work out. People always try to get on their case about, oh, yeah, the Spurs aren't as good. Well, people forget that team, I think they won 65 or 68. I think they won 68 games. They were amazing that year. And if Kawhi doesn't get hurt in game 1 against the Warriors when they were up like 24 points, who knows how that series would have turned out. But again, that's part of sports. You're going to go through ups and downs. Sometimes players just don't work out. Now they have an opportunity to rebuild it, and I like where they're headed. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love to hear your thoughts on what the Spurs are doing and how they're doing this. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.